Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passion World Talk Radio Network, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network LLC. Educate, enlighten, entertain. And on this episode of Scam DamNation, we're going to talk about something that happened in Tennessee. Listen up, folks. If you thought it would never happen to you, well, guess what? It will. Chances are real high. Romance Scams is a business organization, and it stole $86,000 from a 74-year-old retiree male before he committed suicide. The story is by Silas Redmond, and he is going to provide you with ways of protecting yourself, how the scam went down, and other pertinent information. And I'm telling you right now, go over to the website, passionateworldtalkradio.com/blog, listen to the podcast audio, read the summary, but most important, click on that link. It'll take you into msn.com and find out everything you need to know. That was probably all, if not most, of his retirement money. Romance scams are no longer a fringe element. They're no longer a fringe crime. It's something that you, at any age, need to take seriously. As I stated in the opening, this is a highly organized business aimed at taking your hard-earned money and your life. This type of business preys on loneliness, trust, companionship, and the hope of a late life companion. It was a sequence, a template, if you want to put it that way, of how to commit and convince someone that a person is in love with you and wants to meet up with you and marry you or move in with you. So devastated this gentleman that he committed suicide, which is an emotional impulse. You don't think before you act. So Silas is going to help you understand what took place, why it was so successful, and then the kicker, how to protect yourself and your family members from this happening to you. So pay attention. Now, the people who investigated this case said that the con artists, the people who scam you, built a relationship with this gentleman from Tennessee, a retiree, 74, and then convinced him slowly to send them a total of $86,000 under the guise of love and shared plans. This gentleman lived in Johannesburg, and he believed he was helping a partner in crisis, only to discover later that he had been manipulated. Good word, influenced, manipulated, puppet. And he later took his own life after realizing the extent of this betrayal. The court records show that 3 people were eventually held responsible, with one of them ordered to pay $388,500 in restitution, a figure that not only reflects his losses, but the broader criminal operation that targeted this gentleman and others like him. Local reporting from Jonesboro details how the scheme unfolded over time, with the victim sending more than $86,000 before his death. Another account notes that the con artist specifically They chose him. The Tennessee retiree, aged 74, in a romance scam that ended in him taking his own life. In a related sentencing, must-read, MUSTREAD, coverage notes that on December 2nd, 2025, Tennessee defendant Stephen O. Angor, age 37, of Lakewood, Washington, was sentenced to 9 years in prison, underscoring that prosecutors now treat these cases as serious financial and emotional crimes. So you're asking yourself at the ripe old age of 55, why older adults are prime targets for romance scams. They're not random. They are designed to zero in on people who may be isolated, financially stable, and trusting, which is why older people are so often in the crosshairs of these scams. One analysis of romance scams aimed at seniors notes that these schemes are among the most common and most costly, and that according to the Federal Trade Commission, Americans have collectively lost well over $1 billion to them in recent years. Maybe they should switch the $1 billion peace squad over to all the seniors who are being scammed out of their savings. That makes a lot more sense to me. The same reporting stresses that according to the FTC, Americans are often targeted precisely because they have the retirement savings, home equity, or steady benefits that can be siphoned away. Financial professionals who have worked with retirees describe how fraudulent people often open with flattery and quick declarations of love, then pivot to money once trust is established, a pattern that romance scams experts say is now a hallmark, and don't get it confused with the ones that do all the love romance stories, of these crimes. Legal advocates who focus on aging clients add that older adults may be less familiar with the mechanics of online catfishing and more inclined to take a profile at face value, which is why guides on how romance scams affect older adults. And they emphasize both the emotional and the vulnerability and the risk of losing a lifetime of savings in a matter of weeks. So how do you spot a red flag before they can reach your wallet or bank account or your savings account? Most romance scams follow a script. And once you know the beats, it becomes easier for you to walk away. Fraud specialists describe a pattern in which a stranger reaches out on a dating app or social platform, quickly professes deep feelings, and then introduces a crisis that requires money, a sequence that one banks. Now, detailed guide breaks down under the question, what is the romance scam? And those same guide notes that you often receive a message from someone claiming to be working overseas, in the military, or on an oil rig, which conveniently explains why they cannot meet in person or video chat. Advocates for older adults warn that, quote, love bombing, unquote, is a major warning sign, with signs of sweetheart scams, including constant compliments, pressure to move the relationship off that platform, and reluctance to share verifiable details. Cyber security advisors add that a common tactic is catfishing, which involves creating a false online pattern, often using photos of other people. A pattern explained in detail in an October analysis of romance scams. When someone will not do a live video call, keeps pushing back plans to meet, or dodge basic questions about their life, that's not shyness, folks. Nope. It is likely a sign of fraud. So you may want to keep some of these as notes by your side when and if you're approached. So what are some of the practical steps to protect yourself and your family? I'll tell you what they are, and then I'm going to leave it up to you to click on the link on our website to go and find and make sure you take notes from that so you can protect yourself. So there are concrete habits that will reduce your risk, starting with how much you share online and how quickly you move a conversation off a reputable platform. For example, you may start off on Facebook, and then the next thing you know, they want to go somewhere else. Legal guides on how to protect against romance scams urge people to avoid sharing personal information and to consider limiting public posts that reveal your finances, health, or daily routines. Another elder law resource advises that you should avoid sharing sensitive personal information online, including bank details, social security numbers, and copies of IDs. Your license, for example, which can be used for identity theft, even if you never send money. The federal investigators who track these types of crimes recommend specific guardrails when you meet someone new on a dating site. One official advisory on tips to avoid losing money to a romance scam says you should keep it on the platform as long as possible, since reputable sites have tools to flag suspicious behavior and remove fake accounts. Now, one of these alternate platforms are apps, and they take great pains to tell you that they protect you. And if they don't protect you, tell them you can't use it. Very simple. The same guidance on avoid losing money stresses that if you receive a call, text, or email pressuring you to send money quickly, especially through gift cards, and even though they ask, people lie. They lie to themselves, which is the worst. Wire transfers or cryptocurrency, you should hang up, slow down, and listen to your gut instead of reacting to fear. And for families with teens who are also most likely to be targeted, have conversations about it. Think you have enough to get started? Good. Then, call to action. Go over to the website, passionatedworldtalkradio.com/blog, passionatedworldtalkradio.com/blog. I'll take you directly to the blog where you can hear the podcast, read the summary, and then click on that ever important link. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Enjoy the rest of the 2 days of the week, since this is hump day.